from the Daily Mail.
Thanks, Chancellor. Can I ask, you said, I think, that this scheme will come into force in June. What self-employed people are supposed to live on until then? You can also pick up Robert's point on the future tax treatment. Without getting into too much detail, which you obviously can't do at this stage, is it fair to say that you're warning the self-employed that they may well have to pay more tax in the future? And a question for Jenny Harris. Can I ask there's millions of us now cooped up in our houses. Are you at all worried about the kind of health impacts of that? We've seen kind of supermarket booze aisles stripped bare. Are you worried about the impact of mental health problems, obesity, drink problems in this crisis?
Jason, to your first question on timing, I refer to what I said previously. We've looked very hard at the quickest possible way to deliver this. We are already delivering a brand new system to deal with the employment scheme that we've set up, which covers 90% of the population, and that will be up and running by the end of April to ensure that those businesses, can meet their payroll in April and use that scheme to pay their furloughed workers. It is ultimately the same group of people, the same systems that need to do this. So we can do some of it in parallel, but some of it will have to be in sequence and come afterwards. Also, because we've taken the decision to allow people who are late in filing their tax returns in January, 4 weeks from today, the opportunity to file their tax returns and benefit from this scheme, that also will have some impact on timing, which again, I think is a reasonable and sensible trade-off to make in the circumstances. They will get 3 months in one go in June, which obviously will be welcome. And as I said, we have made available multiple other avenues of support in the interim for this population of people. Very considerable investments, both in the welfare system through local councils and other tax deferrals. And with regard to the thing, again, I'm not anticipating future policy. I'm just making the observation that I think it is harder to sustain the argument that if you're employed and paying a higher rate of tax on the basis that you are treated differently, and now we're treating everybody the same and at a very, very significant cost, that we as a country and as a society, as we get through this, and all together are figuring out, once we get through this, how we then right the ship afterwards. This is an observation that I think is eminently fair to make now at this point, and then we can discuss in the future, how best we all come together to get through this, and as I said, to right the ship and make sure that we get everything back on track again. Okay.
Thank you. So yes, I personally and many of my public health colleagues have made it very clear that we recognise that there are potential mental health risks as well, that we need to be looking after our bodies and our minds at the same time. That particularly applies to our very high risk vulnerable group who we have asked to almost take themselves out of society for 12 weeks. That's a really big ask. And it's why in the letters which have gone out to them, there are specific links and suggestions around mental health and mental health welfare, linking with Every Mind Matters, all sorts of links to do that. But I might actually put a more optimistic view as well, which is if people are not going out to work, and often that actually creates quite a stress in terms of travel time, they have more free time to themselves. And it might be the best opportunity the whole country has to say, I'm going to use my one exercise session every day to ensure that by the time this is over, I am super fit and so is my family. And in fact, if you have something restricted, it suddenly becomes quite a pleasurable event. So even though you may not have wished to jog along the street before, doing so now might actually be quite a relief and quite a positive thing for us all to do.
Brilliant. Thank you. George Parker from the FT.
Thank you, Chancellor.